So, so this life that we call God is personal to each of us. And so we feel this presence and we foster that feeling in our spiritual practice and in everything. You know, everything else that we do, we grow spiritually. To come into a greater realization of what has been promised since the beginning. So when you sit to practice, you say, okay, I'm going to sit for just a couple minutes and I'm going to meditate, I'm going to say a prayer, I'm going to do my spiritual reading. What you are preparing for is what you will do out in the world. That's why we call it spiritual practice. You want to work on yourself and your consciousness at home in your prayer chair, as I like to call it. You know, that little designated spot where you always sit and do the inner work, because you're preparing yourself for what you'll be doing out in the world. If you don't touch the presence, if you don't court the presence at home in spiritual practice, there is no hope for you out in the world. That presence is you're going to have access to that presence out in the world. What we're going to do if we don't court the presence is that we're always going to be living at effect of the world around us. We're always going to be reacting from our personality. We're going to always be being led by our unhealed stuff that comes up and saying, it's all them, they did it, they said it, it was their fault, right? Because we do spiritual practice, we can make a different choice. Hear that. That's really important. Because you do spiritual practice, you can make a different choice. You know, so I surrender to the presence and am raised up into glorious newness every time we do that. Every time we say, you know, I've done what I think I know how to do. I don't know how to do anymore. I surrender because I believe that there is a power and a presence that knows what to do, and I will allow that full sway in my consciousness now. So what has been prepared for us in the beginning has a way to be revealed through us, right? This is why we practice in a community. You know, there's this story about this couple that moves into a house, and they take the first few days, and they're unpacking and unpacking, but boy, have they got a lot of stuff. So after a few days, the husband says, you know, I've got to go back to work. And so he goes off to work, and the woman notices that while she's unpacking, that the woman across the street hangs out laundry, but it's dirty. And she doesn't understand this at all. And she's like Gladys Kravitz in Bewitched. You know, she's like, and she gets on the phone and she goes, Abner, you'll never believe what they're doing across the street. She's hanging out dirty laundry. And he says, well, I don't know anything about that. I got to get back to work. Next day, she's at the kitchen sink, looking out the window, and the neighbor comes out and hangs laundry again, and it's dirty. And immediately, she's on the phone to her husband. You will never believe it. Again, 2 days in a row, she's hanging out dirty laundry. Day 3, you'll never believe she's hanging out dirty laundry. Day 4, she's looking out the window, and she sees the woman come out with the laundry basket, and she starts to hang clothes, and she calls her husband and says, well, I don't believe it. Today, she hung out clean laundry. And he says, well, I don't know anything about that, but I do know that I washed all the windows before I left for work this morning. So we go to the presence. We initiate our relationship with the presence in order to wash our windows so that we can be healed, right? Of our judgments and our accusations and our criticism and the errors and false beliefs. Because the presence always delivers. When we turn to God fully, God turns to us. Let's do that now. So we turn our attention inward for a moment to just recognize that we are surrounded and filled with the infinite loving presence that we know as God. And so I give glory unto God for the truth that has circulated among us this day. And I claim for each and every one of us that we are willing. We are willing to let something go that does not serve us anymore. Some thought, some belief, some habit pattern, some way of being that just doesn't add to our life in any good or healthy way. I speak the word that we let go of something and immediately the infinite spirit brings newness into our life. That we heal something and newness comes in. We forgive someone and newness comes in. We let something go and there is newness. Newness in our life that is always for a greater good. I speak the word for us knowing that our soul longs to be free. And so anything, known or unknown, that limits us, I speak the word that we surrender that over right now. We are willing to be healed, and our willingness is demonstrated because we practice spiritually. So I claim for us right now that things are on the upswing for each and every one of us, that great good is coming into our life, and that those things that looked awful, that seemed to take us to our knees, are actually the things that bring us to the deepest places spiritually where we receive the most growth. So we include in our prayer today our family members, our friends, our loved ones, and we know God is right where they are. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world, so all those things that look so scary in the world, we say God is right there as perfect peace, that there is a presence of the living Spirit in each and every person involved, and we call that forward. We bless our church, we bless all churches, synagogues and temples, mosques, ashrams, all paths to God. And I know that we are blessed by being together in the two or more. We all get raised up. And so with an open, gracious, full heart, I give thanks and release this word, and so it is. Together we all say, Amen.